All right. Hey everybody, this is Andy Jones-Wilkins of I Run Far, here with Bethany Patterson on the eve of the Western States 100 2016 edition. This is a special video version of AJW's Taproom. Bethany is here. We've traveled together from Virginia. She's here for the first time since 2004. Bethany, how you doing?
Better, I think, than 2004. I remember, I think I got in Thursday back in 2004, and I was just a bundle of nerves the entire time.
Yeah.
And so far, knock on wood, I still have tomorrow, but I'm pretty calm.
Pretty calm, and you've
Pretty
kind
calm.
of done the squaw thing, done the hike.
We did the hike and
checked in yesterday.
Checked in,
yeah.
kind of getting all our stuff organized. So far, I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
So it's been 12 years.
12 years.
And the race in 2004 did not go the way you'd hoped, the way you'd planned. Maybe that's part of why it's been 12 years, but talk a little bit, let's set the stage. That race in 2004, where were you as a runner, as a person, and how did it go down?
Yeah, so I was 2004, the previous year, 2003, I had a really, really good year. I was kind of new to ultra running, but I had a really good year, won a bunch of races, and so I think looking back, you have perspective when you're older and a little wiser, and looking back, I came into this race a little overconfident, thinking that I'd run some good 100-milers and that this was just another one, and I was this awesome young runner and I could just take anything. And very quickly, Western States taught me that the trail always wins, and I did not win, so I didn't finish. I dropped at Michigan Bluff, and probably from the hike up the scarp at the beginning, it was bad.
Really?
I mean, it was bad. I was young and probably a little cocky, and immediately when everyone ran away from me and I didn't feel good and I was not up at the front, my mind went away.
Yeah.
And it never came up. I think I was, and we talked about this a little bit before, but I didn't enjoy the day. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't, just on the hike going up here, I don't remember any of it.
It wasn't really a physical.
It wasn't a physical
thing that made you drop.
When I dropped, I had no problems. In fact, I was sitting at, what's the aid station below Devil's Thumb at the bottom?
There isn't one.
Or below
Michigan Bluff. El Dorado. Yeah.
So sitting down at El Dorado,
Okay,
trying to convince them.
The
that I
hottest
needed to-
place on the course.
Sitting there,
Yeah.
which you don't want to do, and they were telling me that I was fine, and I was trying to convince them that I was not fine.
Okay.
But there was nothing wrong. It was mental. I wasn't having fun. It was a hot day, and I wasn't in the race, and so mentally I just kind of gave up. And looking back, I could have still probably finished in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I just quit. And I quit, unfortunately, there. So by the time I saw my crew at Michigan Bluff, I was done.
Right.
There was no talking out.
So that was 12 years ago.
12 years ago. Yep.
You've run quite a bit since then, but you haven't been back here.
Haven't been back here.
Talk me through the last 12 years as a runner, as a wife, as a mom, as a full-time professional. I mean, a lot of water under the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a different person than I was back then. So after that was 2004. I got married in 2005. And then since then, had a career, worked for a company for 10 years. My husband and I now have 3 kids, twin boys that are 6 and a little girl that is 2.5. And so that kind of, life kind of happened. And I didn't, the commitment to run, you can still run ultras, but for me, and with my kids being that little, the commitment to run 100 miles and the time that it takes to do it, well, I can't, personally, I'm competitive and I can't just run. And I couldn't just run to finish. That I'm not wired that way. So I didn't want to take the time. And honestly, I think Western States was probably the start of it, but from Western States, I tried a couple other hundreds after that. And I kind of had, hundreds just didn't work for me. I hadn't figured them out. I was young. I probably ran them pretty stupid. And so I didn't have a love for them. And so I think I took a break, ran some ultras in those times. I joke because I don't really feel like I stopped running ultras, but it seemed apparently that I did, because now people talk about me kind of coming back for my second career running, and I never thought I left my first one, but I'm different. Now I'm in my 30s, I'm 37, and it's just, I'm in a different place.
So I remember seeing you, I might have been one of your first races back after Allie, your 2.5-year-old daughter was born, at Terrapin Mountain, one of the local.
That was my first 50K.
Local 50K. You were out there for fun. All the Virginia people were there. You got through the day.
I got through. It wasn't pretty, but I did it. And and I think the appreciation each time, going through pregnancy and then taking time off to have kids and to raise them in that first year because you're so busy, you find the love for what you had. I think I was trying to be so competitive as a young athlete that I lost the love.
Yeah.
I was all focused on performance, and I lost the love. And then you get the time away that you can't run. I couldn't run when they were little, and I couldn't run when I was pregnant. And you get back out on the trail, and it was like a new beginning. And just the love for look where we are. It's beautiful. And
then you began a return to this the Virginia race that's in your soul, the Mountain Masochist.
Yep.
50 miler. It's longer than 50 miles. You've now finished it 10 times, won it twice.
Yep.
Most recently, this last year. And I tracked you down about a year and a half ago after your first real masochist back.
Yes, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And I remember distinctly, we talked about Western States because I'm obsessed with Western States, and I wanted to hear this story because I remember following Bethany Hunter,
and we'd never met.
I remember you came from your job and your scrubs and all of this, and we talked for an hour and a half, and I wrote a story in I Run Far, the Bethany Patterson story, and from that point on, I was sort of poking and prodding at you about you trying to get you to stop saying I'm not a 100-mile person.
Exactly.
But from that point, how did you get to Western States?
Yeah. No, I remember our talk, and at the time I had no desire to run a 100-mile race. I mean, it had been, I think at that point, 10 years, maybe 8 or 10 years since I'd run 100. I'd done, up to 50 miles on 100K, but I really the year before I had thought about trying to do 100, and I just didn't really, there was no passion for me. I didn't really have a desire to do it. And then after our conference, but I knew, and we kind of talked about it, but I knew someday I did want to come back here and finish because it was the one race that I dropped that there was no reason for me to drop. Right. There was no good reason. You regret those, right? If you have a real reason, you have an injury or something, that's one thing. But there was no reason for me to drop. So I wanted to come back and run around the track and get my finish and get my buckle. And at the time, you were pushing. I was not interested. And then I kept running. That was 2 years ago. So ran a bunch of races last year. And we... a friend of ours, Amy, who's also a runner in Virginia, had started talking about this race down in Georgia. And my original plan for this year was just to do different races. I'd run all the Virginia races many times, and I wanted something different and fresh. And she'd mentioned this race called the Georgia Death Race. And so I think this was probably maybe October, November, something. And so I decided to be a fun race to go to. I kind of researched it a little bit, and it sounded fun. And then lo and behold, I think in maybe December, they announced it was a golden ticket race. Right. And I remember looking at the list and getting chills because there's never been a race on the East Coast, a golden ticket race. And part of my resistance to you was I'm not going to pay to go travel to a race and maybe not get a ticket and then spend all this money. I just wasn't going to do it.
Right.
Have a family to think about. And I had already signed up. It was a golden ticket race. It was meant to be.
Right. So then,
it was meant to be.
Now we're getting into real time. You've got,
so
it's December. You're doing your normal Hellgate.
Yep.
You won Hellgate.
Yep.
After winning Masochist. Yep. So like Bethany Patterson, the winner in Virginia, is back. And we're still, you're like, and you're admittedly wanting to get out of that.
I wanted to break out of that.
Yeah. Georgia Death Race provides that. But now it's January, February. You need to train for it through the winter.
Which my plan after Hellgate was to have some downtime.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, now come January 1, I have this race in March that I have to train.
And I have to say, being around you during that time, you kind of got obsessed with doing well at the Georgia Death Race.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you commit. I love competing. I do. I mean, I love the sport for being on trails and for enjoying nature, but I also love to compete. And when you find a race that potentially could be really good for you, and with the chance. So I also put in for the lottery this past year with one ticket, didn't get it, no surprise, which I kind of expected, but I was going to put in anyway. And then this happened. I said, well, if I really want to, this year just seemed like the stars aligned for me to be able to come here.
Yeah.
I'd had a good year. I came off an injury last year, and it was getting better. I'd had a good year of training. My kids were getting older, so I'd had a solid block of time, and it just seemed like a perfect perfect storm.
And then
I
the
guess.
Georgia Death Race,
Yeah.
I was there. It worked out well, but it admittedly wasn't a perfect race.
Not by any means,
at
no.
28 miles in, you're 28 minutes behind.
Yep.
You're with a pack of women, and you're sort of like, I guess we're racing for second because
Yep.
Sarah's off the front, and
I'm not running well.
And you're not running
And I'm
well.
not running
You have
well.
no energy. You're like,
Nope.
what the heck's going on here?
Yep.
I'm sitting there trying to figure out how we're going to make conversation for the 9-hour drive home when you're depressed about not getting your golden ticket.
Right.
And lo and behold, you eat into that lead.
Yeah.
You know, one thing leads to another, and you win the race and get
Yep.
the golden ticket. And it's like your life changed.
Even crossing I remember walking across right before you finish. There's a little creek that he makes you wade through, and then you have like 10 feet to the finish line. And walking through that, thinking, "Oh my goodness, I'm now running Western States,"
Right.
which wasn't even on the radar this year.
So now it's March 20th.
So now it's March.
And you've got 3 months.
Yeah.
And you're coming as well. Now you have 2 days. What have those 3 months been like?
Well,
How would you characterize them?
For those that don't know, he's my coach. So there's that. He's a little obsessed. So there's that. I think once it sunk in that first week after, and I realized I was here. You don't know. You're not guaranteed next year. You don't know if you're going to get a chance to come back, and I want to appreciate it, but I wanted to run well. So I think I might have become almost as obsessed as you are. Maybe.
I think you might have.
I think I might have. It was a really good 3 months. I mean, pretty much my life for the last 3 months has been running, sleeping, working, and my family.
Right.
And it's been that, and it's been really good. I mean, it's been a consistent build up to the race. It's 2 days before now, and I'm just glad that my taper is almost over.
Yeah.
And I get to run on Saturday.
Well, and given the fact that you're 37 years old and you've been running ultras 17 years, I think it's safe to say you haven't trained as hard for anything as you have this race.
We've talked about it. I don't think in recent memory, time sort of fades things. I don't really know what I did back in 2003 and 2004, but in at least the last 10 years, I have not trained nearly the way that I have now. And we talked about it early on back in around the Georgia Death Race and even earlier what my training would be like, and it's been even better than that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have expected that. I didn't know I could do what I've been able to do, which has been really fun. Actually, the training has been fun.
So we are looking at this race, you especially are looking at this race as a lot of different things. There's a group of women in the front pack of which you're part. Not sure what part. Never run against them before. There's the always present goal of a silver buckle.
Absolutely.
And then I gotta say, there's finishing.
If I have
what you failed to finish 12 years ago.
If I have to walk and crawl and roll to a 30-hour finish, I will do it. I don't care. I'm not gonna. I've learned from my younger self that you can swallow your pride, and even if you're not performing the way that you think you should based on your fitness and what you think in your head, a finish is still better than not finishing. And it's been a long time, and to live with that for this long and to have that regret, I'm not doing that again. You're going to have to pull me off the course to make me stop. So
I'm pretty sure of that.
Yes.
And we just returned from the ceremony at the escarpment where there was a tribute to Greg Soderlund, the former race director, and one of the things he was most famous for saying is running 100 miles is like living a life in one day.
And it really is.
And as I think of your journey over these last 6 months and this goal, whether that living that life in one day is 20 hours or 24 hours or 30 hours, it's finishing or at least getting some sense of closure to that opportunity you had as a different person.
Completely.
12 years ago.
I'm not that person that stood here.
And that is a way that this sport, I believe, can remake people and remake lives.
And my goal is to finish, and it's also to appreciate it and take in the day, no matter what. To look around at where I get to run. No one's forcing me to run. I get to do this. My body can handle this. It's a beautiful area. I want to appreciate the day because I didn't last time. I didn't even look around. I don't remember anything of the course. So I want to appreciate the day.
Well, I got to say this before we close up. There are many, many compelling stories going into this year's race that many of us will be following. But I can tell you, for me and for a lot of other people, following this story is going to be something else. And
I'm excited.
Whenever you get around that track, will be an exciting time
I can't
for
wait.
a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Beer.
Well, how about that? Wasn't bad.
No, it was good. You're
All
right.
right.
15 minutes.
Was that? Were we at 15 minutes?
Sweet. All right.
Bethany, I saw Bethany's
Oh no,
watch.
Bethany, you got to be in there to introduce
Oh.
the beer.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
it?
What are we going to do?
That ginger thing.
Do you know anything about it?
No.
Okay.
No.
So do I have to say the beer of the week?
Well, AJW, take it away.
Yeah, Bethany's going to name the beer of the week for this week as a special AJW's Taproom.
Takeover?
A takeover? What do you got?
I don't think I can take over your tap room.
No.
Just one tap.
Yes. So for once, this is not going to be an IPA. So it's from Richmond, Virginia, Ardent Brewery. Their honey ginger is excellent.
Honey ginger from Ardent Brewery.
Yes.
There it is. Beer of the week.
No, I can't help it. I know. It's so fun.
It's so hard being AJW.
Especially Western States Week. I just get it
you
from all
you
ends.
have gotten it the whole
I get.
time.
I've got. Yeah.
And-
And Monkey Boy's not even here yet.
And Horton's not here.
And Horton's not
Oh,
here
you
yet.
know.
It's going to be a long weekend.
And you totally deserve it.
I do.
You totally deserve it. Yeah.
And we're rolling, so whenever you
We're
want.
going to have bonus footage.
All right, then.
All right.